I'm using the Shaper Orgin router with the workstation. I'm gonna make something that I was inspired by on Pinterest. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I need to lower the station, the support table, so it's even with the domino tape. So I'm gonna put this on here. I'm gonna tap that down. Was 1 3/4 inches thick. So I'm gonna get that perfectly level with that. Okay, so that's level. I'm gonna lock that in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some double-sided tape and I'm gonna tape that down to the surface there, the work surface. I'm just gonna put 2 rows of tape. Probably could have put it on the material. I want to kind of burnish that in to make sure that it's going to stick. So I'm just going to get this putty knife, push that tape down so it sticks real well. And then I'm going to remove the other layer of the tape. And then I'm going to stick that on here and put more tape than I need. I did line it up with the front of the workstation. Now I need to measure and find the center of this board. When I was doing this earlier, I couldn't really see the tape. So I'm gonna mark it at 4 1/8 on each side. And that's gonna allow for the kerf, the thickness of the blade when I cut this in half, because I'm making 2 of these. And what this is, it's gonna be a paperweight. I'm gonna try to do it in a couple different colors, because when I did the black, I couldn't see it if I did a regular pencil. So that represents the thickness of the blade. Now I'm gonna draw a line diagonally across, and you can't see that, but from corner to corner to find the center of this board. So I don't know if the yellow is gonna work. If I can do that in white, I'm gonna try it in the white, see if that's any better. Just because it's black walnut and it's hard to see the dark pencil lines. So then I'm gonna do this again. Sorry, I gotta cover this up. You don't see this as well, but I can't see over the board. So I'm gonna draw a line, and then I'm gonna draw this line. Corner to corner. So we're gonna see if I can see those as they fall to the ground. I'm also gonna put this support bar in to help support the router while I'm doing this. And I can slide that forward a little bit and lock that in place. Now, if you haven't used the Shaper before, what you need to do is you need to, in this case, scan the material and scan the workstation. The workstation's been scanned in there before, but I've never scanned the material. So I have to go to New Scan, push Start Scan, and then you're gonna go over and try to register all the dominoes. They turn blue when you've registered them. But I also want to slide this back so the camera will pick up the location of the board. I want to see the X's in that board. Looks like I see them a little bit better with the white pencil. So now I've got everything. I'm going to push Finish. I've scanned everything. Now it's updating the workspace. Now I'm going to go to Design and Create. I want to do a circle. I'm gonna do a 2-inch circle. Take that back. I'm gonna do a 1 3/4 inch circle. I'm gonna do a 1 3/4, so 1.75, done. Now it wants me to place those. So now I'm gonna scan over my X, and if you can't see that very well, if you pinch on this and expand that, that might help you see the center. So I'm gonna take that X and put this here, and I'm gonna tell it place that. So now when I cut the circle, it's gonna be right on that one. So I'm gonna come over here since I'm doing 2 of these, I'm gonna push copy, and then I can get that same shape, and then I can go over here, zoom in on that, line that up on that X. I could maybe even turn it here so that I could line it up on the X maybe a little bit better. Kind of hard with that pencil line to see that. But then if you like that, push place. So now it's placed both of those 1 3/4 inch circles on there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to cut. And then I'm gonna hover over that circle. And here it says, right now it says I have a 1/8 inch cutter in there. I'm going 3/8 deep, and I'm gonna do the inside of the line. I don't wanna do the inside of the line. I want to do a pocket. So if I go over here, I can see pocket. I'm gonna cut out all that stuff in the center, but I'm seeing I've got an 1/8 inch cutter on here. I've got an 1/8 inch cutter on here. I think I wanna go remove it faster, so I'm gonna put a 1/4 inch cutter on it. So to do that, unplug the router, take the wrench, sorry for the reach there, loosen the router, pull the router out. It's not plugged in, so I can't accidentally get hurt. I'm gonna push this locking device, and I'm gonna take the wrench. I'm gonna pinch that. I'm gonna spin that so I can feel that that locks the arbor there. Just call it. I'm gonna loosen that, and then do it by hand, loosen as much as you can. Then I'm gonna take this one more turn, and then that router bit's gonna come out. So this is an 1/8 inch straight bit. Like I said, I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch brand new straight bit. I'm gonna pull that out of here, nice and sharp. Then I'm gonna put that into the collet, and I'm gonna push the headlock in there. I'm gonna hand tighten the collet, and then I'm gonna get the wrench, and you don't need to overdo it, but that's snug. So now the router is ready to go back in. I'm gonna drop that in. Make sure you tighten the router. You can see this, but I'm gonna put this on here, the Allen wrench, and tighten that. Then I'm gonna plug the router in, and get rid of the wrench, plug the router in. So now I've removed the cover for the shield for the dust collection, but I'm gonna go here and I have to change it. I want to do a couple things. A Z-touch. Z-touch is when the router goes down and measures the distance between the router bit and the stock being cut. So I'm gonna push here, Z-touch. It's gonna go down. And sometimes that doesn't work when you're on the material. So I'm actually gonna go to the table here, and I'm gonna say try again. It's gonna go down. It's gonna measure the distance. It's successful. It'll have a green arrow. Now I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna tell it, let's change that bit. I'm not using that 1/8 inch bit anymore. I'm using the 1/4 inch bit. And it's asking for this, it says don't forget to do the Z-touch. I already did the Z-touch, but I might have to do it again. I'm gonna do it again because I just told I changed the bit. So shouldn't have to hold the router down. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna change the depth on there. So right now I have a 1/4 inch bit, and I'm telling it I want to go to 1/4 inch deep. I'm gonna tell that done. I'm gonna do the Z-touch just because it lifts up. I'm gonna hold on the sides. It's successful, it turned green. Now I can come over here, and remember I said we want to do a pocket. Right now it's saying it wants to cut inside that groove. So if I go over here, I'm gonna tell it, no, change that, cut out the whole pocket. And then I'm gonna go over to this one, and it's doing a pocket also. I'm gonna go ahead and put the dust shroud back on for the dust collection, and then I'm gonna pocket that out. So all that means is I'm gonna remove all that material. But there's an offset that you can do here too. So when you have your piece that has to fit in, you probably wanna cut the piece that's gonna fit into it first. That way, as you're doing this, you can double check and make sure they fit in, and then make that offset a little bit larger so your piece fits in. So I've actually cut pieces. I cut a couple different ones. I've cut, these are 1.5 inches, and these are 1 3/4 inches. So what I did is I only cut these 3/8 of an inch deep. I'm just gonna go to the bandsaw, and I'm gonna resaw those and cut those off. And then I'll do my pocket like 5/16 deep when it's all said and done. And then I need to make sure these fit in there tight. So having these prepared and ready, so after I do these pockets, if you find, oh, they're a little bit too tight, well, everything's still set up, I can go back and I can open those up a little bit till I get these fitting in there perfect. So I'm gonna bandsaw those off, and then I'm gonna pocket these out. So right now, I know that these are 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out real quick. So here we go. I'm gonna change this to 5/16 right now for the depth. I'm gonna just tell it that I want that to do, and you can do it in decimal or fraction. I'm gonna tell it, back up. I'm gonna tell it 5/16, enter. And it tells me that 5/16 is in decimal is 0.031. So here we go. Turn the router on. Everything was locked in place. The power's in. Well, obviously I did do something on the depth right. I was looking at that, that's 0.0031. So let's come back over here, and I'll just cut this at 1/4 inch. I'm still doing the pocket. I'm gonna cut 1/4 inch deep. And then we'll turn the router back on and cut that. So basically, I'm just removing the material till I've cleaned all that up. It's turned blue after because I've gone over everything. I think there's a way that you can, I'm not gonna erase that because I want it in the same spot. So I'm gonna turn the router back on. I'm gonna go back and clean that up, cut it 1/4 inch deep now. So you push the orange button to retract the router bit. Now you can see I've cut this, but I'm almost positive that's not going to fit in there. I wanted 1 3/4. I think I'm going to have to, yeah, it's 1 5/8. So to do that offset there, I need to open that up to allow that to fit in. But that's good because I didn't take out too much. I can always go back and open that up a little bit more because these were 1 3/4 and you want them to fit tight. So while I'm here, I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna open this one up. It still says pocket, still says 1/4 inch deep. So you can see that where the pocket is, but actually where the green light is, green line, you're just gonna follow around that, but you can actually see the perimeter's a little bit larger. So I need to do the offset to open that up a little bit more. So here we go again. So we track that. Again, I went 1/4 inch deep. Centered on my line. So if I want to go 1 5/16, I can. I'm going to go ahead and cut the circles out of this on the bandsaw real quick so that we can see how much that's off. And then we'll have to go back here and say, okay, this line here for this offset, let's try this at 0.005 and see how much that opens up, because it's going to open up on each side of that diameter on the outside wall. So we just want to do little increments at a time till we get that fitting. But I would rather have these cut out so that I can test them in there, so I don't do too much. Because if I do too much, then I have to go back and remake these. And I really don't want to do that if I don't have to. So let me go to the bandsaw and we'll resaw those so that we have a blank that we can try to sit in that plug and see what happens. So let's come back to that.